But Kristen's phone usually hooked up here, so I can't. You know what I'm saying?
Oh damn.
And hold on.
And yo, keep saying.
You see, it's saying live soon.
Live soon. I mean, that's live now.
Everybody, yeah.
Live now. Are we live now?
Are we live now?
We should be live now.
How you say? Why you think that?
Because I got the notifications when we come to fuck home.
And we live.
We live, bitch. All right, so look, we ain't know we was live yet. So if y'all saw us just asking,
Hey, look, I had to notify these motherfuckers that we was live.
We had to get.
I got the push notifications on my shit. I don't know what the fuck they doing.
I got this weak ass phone.
I know when we live.
I got this Android One.
We are live, and Denzel love leaving when we just go live. Every time. It's just like right on the break of the start.
But I'll tell you what, he does leave to get us like drinks and shit. So
yeah,
he's doing. You know, we don't have a producer yet. So once we get to that point,
right,
and then we live. We got the shot glasses. We got my man Steve in the corner.
Steve.
Yeah. We got my man Steve.
We got the skulls.
But most importantly, we have our guest today. Pronounce your first name again for me.
Kemeron.
I was gonna say Cameron.
Cameron?
Cameron, man. His name is
Better
Cameron.
than Cameron. Yeah.
Some people call me Ken, though.
Kim. We got my man Kemeron. Let's give him a clap. We got the artiste. And look, I don't know if you can see it, but it's in frame. But unlike our other bullshit, piece of shit ass guests, we love you. He brought us a gift. Goddamn.
Hey.
Other guests? Future guests. Bring something. We ain't fucking with y'all.
Always come back giving gifts.
There we go.
Man.
So we pouring up right now. Courtesy of my man Steve who's out of camera. Hey, can you get in frame real quick? You too old to get in frame.
No, leave Steve there.
Next time.
They heard you in the background.
Next time.
Whenever you meet him.
It's like to be mysterious.
When
you know?
you
It's
see
a good
him,
thing to be mysterious sometimes.
When you see Steve, you can look at him and you can say, that's not a
not
guy.
Steve.
When you call him, it's Tyreek.
Yo, we gonna post him on the page. We're gonna say, what is his real name?
Trickery.
Yeah. His name is Steve.
Yo, he's part of the story. What is his name?
Ooh, when you get these?
Oh, shit.
I've been had shot glasses, yo.
Yeah. We just don't never drink out of the alcohol. Hold on, time out. I don't even know what's going on.
Pass it around.
All right.
Oh, man, he got the one with two.
It's a double shot.
He got the one with two.
That ain't no double shot. Double shot would fill it up. Cheers, motherfuckers.
Toast to the guests, toast to the crew.
Cheers to Steve. This all.
Tyreek with that good dark liquor.
Woo, that's a good way to start.
I said mine. Y'all know how I go. I was fucked up at your jump too. Really? We don't get into that. Okay.
Yo, are y'all still watching the World Cup?
I haven't watched any of it.
No,
I don't follow sports like that, though.
No sports at all.
I haven't had time.
Damn,
y'all not gonna be able to watch it, nigga. I got a kid, right? Yeah. I was fucking training sessions, all kinds of shit. Not safe for eaters.
Nick, you don't watch World Cup?
No. But everybody in my department, some people I know watch it, so I just kind of my best friend. Yeah. My homeboy from Senegal.
Yeah.
And
I
was asking everybody. I always look at
curious, yo. Why you asking him specifically, yo?
He's from Japan, so I'm out. You Japanese? You're not Japanese?
Literally, I am.
Okay, so not safe for ears. We live with the guests.
Yeah.
I don't know what episode. I gotta figure out.
Like 21?
20 something.
I think it's 20 or 21.
21?
Yeah, 20 something. It's up there.
Episode 21.
Episode 20, right?
I think so. A little background to this. We're gonna shout out Chitty, Down City. We're gonna shout out Big Kev. I was invited to a show. Was it Vibrant Things? That's the name of it?
Yeah, Vibrant Things.
And who are the other two co-artists with y'all? The team of y'all.
Sabrina Overton and Eric Green.
Dope. So it was a Saturday night, downtown, beautiful weather. I forgot to my co-host. I'm sorry about that. It was last minute.
We gave him fully.
Look, I wanted all the pictures to myself. Oops, I'm married. She was joking. So we went to the art show, and I haven't done a lot of things like that. Like, you know, from time to time with like a friend or something, but I'm not immersed in the culture.
Yeah.
And when I went in, I had somewhat of an ignorance of how it went down and even how to navigate through it. Mm-hmm. But what spoke to me, regardless of me not knowing how to move throughout that culture, that crowd, was the artwork. And when I saw not only your stuff, but everybody's stuff, but especially some of your stuff, I was like, that pushy shrine we're going to get into. I was like, wow, pushy
shrine.
Pussy this what is pushy. I was like, damn, yo, this
nigga
dope.
he really made a pussy shrine, yo.
Pushy. He gonna get into it. We posted it on the page.
Of his first girlfriend and shit.
What?
Whoa, we about to get him jammed up.
No jamming, but that's not true.
I thought it was dope.
That's not true.
I thought it was dope, and I said, yo, we got to get this man on the show. I think I reached out to you within like 2 weeks.
You reached out because of the shrine?
Listen, the artwork, period.
Yeah.
But just my proximity as far as like knowing somebody. Yo, it was a shrine. I said, yo, it really encapsulated everything about what I think the all right, let me just not.
It's not safe.
What the pussy represents, and I had all times, but like the Matrix. I feel like it's all. So he gonna explain.
That's a good start, yo. Let's start there.
Let's start.
So
start there, yo.
The inspiration. All right. So the name of that piece was the Holy Grail. So the Holy Grail is a stained glass window looking box, and it has a light behind it. And in the stained glass was of vagina, pussy, and you know that was
a hairless vagina too.
Yeah, it didn't
You gotta
have
watch the details.
Nobody see any per bush.
Did it
No,
have
ladies, there was no bush.
Did it have the wings?
Was it a lippy one?
Yeah, it had the labia. Labia, Majora in there, you know.
I remember when Nick
anatomically
first
correct.
came to my attention, I saw it. I was like, yo, he got the lips, he got everything, the clitoris, all
Yeah.
that.
I made sure I put the labias in it. I didn't want to look
He properly
very
represented
perfect.
the
I didn't know what to
vagina.
add, but it was still dope.
Attention to detail. Okay.
For sure, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So the idea, that was the first piece I made for the show. And the idea behind it was Vibrant Thing was a celebration of women, women's sexuality, women power, women in general, women form. So I just wanted something that depicted a woman, and obviously a vagina or like ovaries or breasts would have been that thing, but vagina was definitely the most striking.
It's the ultimate
Yeah,
thing.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then I wanted to tackle like what it is. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like I juxtaposed it with like, you know, holy windows, church window, and the Holy Grail, because the Holy Grail is supposed to be something like that is very coveted. Like in the Catholic Church, it is like the thing that,
sacred thing.
you know, people would put the body of Christ into, or like the blood of Christ and stuff like that. It's something very like coveted after, and it's supposed to be thought of as something that's like everlasting, and that is continuous and infinite. So a vagina, a woman, is our human infinity. Like everything comes from women. No matter what you are, what you create, you were born of a woman. And when women die, our existence is over. You know what I'm saying? Like we can no longer procreate. We can no longer go forward. So it's kind of like a lot of people looked at it sexually, and it is that sexual connotation is there. Like a lot of things in this world would not happen without
What's wrong with
pussy
sex?
and
Yeah.
vagina.
right.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like the wanting of that, or the ability to have it and decide who you give it to. That whole scenario is literally what creates the world, what creates money, what creates all these things that we try to achieve. I mean, we have a lot of self things that we want to do for ourselves, but if there wasn't like love or this idea of sex or procreation, there would be no angst, no feeling of adamant to do anything other than just live, eat.
No incentive. No
Yeah.
drive, baby. It all ties back
Yeah,
to
it all ties back to procreation, love, sex, vagina, and then women. Like, you know what I mean? So I was just kind of paying homage to that idea. Like that's being the start of life, the end of life, all that in one.
I feel like that's not the next question. Go ahead.
Perfect segue, and I want you to pronounce her name because she's royalty here on this show right now.
Okay. Oh, Danae.
All right, Danae.
That's my girlfriend for everybody. That's
Yeah. So stay out the DMs. I'm watching you. So she said she noticed in recent art.
in the DMs.
Not today. We don't jam up like Denzel. You know, he'll jam you up.
Right.
So how many pussies you been fucking? So one of her questions were, I noticed his recent art seems to be centered around women, particularly women of color. Is this a coincidence, or has he decided to focus on women of color purposely?
Now she said his recent art or recent art in general.
His recent art.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's definitely centered around a woman of color. It's crazy. Like if you type in like photography, just looking for photography of like beauty or like woman, it's you're gonna get a bunch of Caucasian women, or at least as far as high quality imagery, you're gonna get a bunch of Caucasian women and stuff like that. And also depicted in art. If you go to an art museum, like a lot of the times, a lot of the art is of Caucasian women and from a Caucasian base, like from a European, British influence. And then they'll have like the black art or like the cultured art
its own
in a
section.
corner.
Yeah.
But that's all art. You know what I'm trying to say?
Let me push back on that.
Yeah.
Right? are we going to European-based museums? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And of course, like, if your European-based museum is going to have European art, or like, let's say in America, right? In museums in general, right? If 70% of the population is white, then maybe that's
it makes sense
why they're doing that. Now, that doesn't mean that it doesn't, that the place for black art and black excellence there isn't a void there, because there is a void there.
Yeah.
But I've also noticed, right, when you about what, 29, 30 years old, something like that? We all about the same year?
Yeah.
So, remember when we were like 15 years old and small lips, small frames, girls that, big boobs but not a fat ass. All of this shit was in. Now, everything that the black woman is naturally is what we watch and become like
the thing.
Like prominent culture. Like now, everybody wants to look like. When I say everybody, I mean all of these. Yes.
But the
so
thing
like,
is
big
that
lips is hot right now. You know what I'm saying?
It's definitely hot. I would say though that it's what's messed up though is that a lot of the shine isn't given to the original. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. That's the thing.
It's like the Kim K is the face of like beauty, popular. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, but
thing right now.
Whose face?
And then
though?
that.
And you're absolutely right. Yeah. But we do gotta step back and say like that's not the real face.
It isn't.
That's just main society's way of saying it. And I got so much to talk about that, but it's not about me. It's about you.
Yeah.
So no, I really feel like
I feel the same way.
Hey, look, I gotta respect you on that one because you wanted to go all the way. He's like, oh, wait a minute.
I feel exactly the same way, man. And that's why, like, women of color are a focus of my art because I want to bring it forward and not necessarily the most traditional way. A lot of the women that I show aren't necessarily skinny, aren't necessarily thick. They might be more than thick. You know what I'm trying to say? They might not have straight hair. They might not, you know what I mean? Right. They are I try to find forms that are natural in a sense and try to bring a beauty that's not stereotypically what beauty is called. You know what I mean? Right. Try to look at her as a woman, as strength. She is black, you know what I mean? Coincidentally, but showing you that all these things that a lot of people associate with other things, like a lot of the Google searches show you other things. I want to associate all those things with this face, and it happens to be black. And then once you start seeing that more, then it starts to really make you remember, or really make it like resonate with you.
Or then when kids are coming up and a black girl who's 5 years old and has natural hair doesn't go to school thinking like, oh, I got to look like them.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like whereas now we 21, 25 years old and just realizing like, shit, this shit is better than that shit sometimes. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the times, like they trying to do this, and then now we behind the curve because we grew up thinking like,
it's crazy.
Oh yeah,
like imagine if it was flipped though. Imagine if like white people walked around with afros. You know what I'm saying?
There's some out there, but
But like everybody, but if you think about our women though, like they walk around with straight hair, as if that's their, like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm no knocking against it, but I'm just like juxtaposing the visual.
So much better natural.
You know what I'm saying? That's and a lot of women would say, I don't get that vibe from men. Like I've had the conversation. They're like, when I have straight hair, I get attention. You know what I mean? Or I get this, or that's what y'all like on Instagram.
That's what you respond to, right?
And it's like part of it has to do with us, but then women would also might say like, well, we don't do it for you anyways, I do it for me. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's a whole thing that's bigger than us, literally bigger than our time, and no one can really be prepared to deal with that because it's generations of coding that has been programmed into us. But I'm just my art is centered around women of color to kind of decode that.
How'd you get started?
I mean, I'm a graphic designer. By profession, I work for Stanley Black & Decker up in Towson. I've been doing graphic design ever since high school.
You need that.
But we touched on this earlier, but like I don't necessarily consider myself an artist yet, but I guess I am now. I had my first art show. Right, you know what I'm saying? So I got to be an artist.
Yeah.
But
you got to make sure you let us know if you having a show. So
I'll let y'all know for sure.
Make that announcement and all that shit too.
But I'll be honest, like I'm a graphic designer. I'm very critical of myself. Throughout doing art, throughout doing design, I doubt myself all the time. And it's I used to look at it maybe, and I'm very open with it. Like I'd be like, yo, I doubt myself. I don't know if this is good enough. Even when I switched to being an art student, I didn't know if I was going to get in. Like I was scared. I didn't get into it until like my junior year of college. So I was like very reserved as far as jumping into it. But I started from high school, got into college, was doing graphic design, did well, kept going, and then got into the art. I just wanted to do an art show. I've never done anything like that. Talked to my people at work, which is Sabrina and Eric. And we kind of just we booked the date months in advance. Like it was like 3-4 months.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're like, we're going to just do that. And we're like, all right,
they
cool.
did it with you? Like,
yeah.
Oh, damn. Y'all just put it out there like, all right,
we're going to do this. Book the date.
That made it real.
We got to do it.
That made it real.
Exactly. So then we procrastinated forever. You know what I'm trying to say? We would like hit each other up every couple weeks. Like, you start? Nah, I'm going to start next week. Don't start next week. And then it kind of turned into this thing where we all procrastinated. And then we got to the point where, yo, like, this is about to be this month. Like, we start.
like,
was it now? I'm going to go here.
I'm be real.
Was it because you all were black?
Yep.
Yeah, it might have been. But I mean, there's a whole psychology behind that, yo.
I've heard some. Yo, the same.
They say that. Go ahead.
No, well, I was just gonna touch base on that, but they do say that there are like some people. I don't know if he was actually gonna say this or not, but some people actually work better.
Of course.
When it comes down to that last minute crunch time, like because of for whatever reason they can't fathom the fact that everything's spread out. So it's like the last minute crunch is like, all right, so it's boom, 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 boom. Like, and they have to get it done simultaneously.
It has to do with indecisiveness. Like, and the reason it works is because once time is a factor, you don't have the decision to make another decision.
Ooh, yeah, I like that.
And it's like, and that's also with life too. Yeah, like, you might look for your partner and you think you have more time to get another partner. You know what I'm trying to say? If they told you you're gonna die next year, you might make this relationship work because you might not have the time to get another one. Right. You know what I'm saying? So with procrastination, I think the factor of time creates a situation where you have to stick with the decisions you've already made and go forward and make it what it is. You know what I'm trying to say?
That sounds like something I heard out of fear right there too.
Yeah.
To segue. Has anybody in since because you're not from Baltimore, right?
No, I'm from Prince George's County.
PG.
Yeah.
Since you've been in Baltimore, has anybody mistaken you for every?
Yes. I get a lot of lookalikes. That's the one I got.
You did?
Yeah. Like I don't know, man. I guess a familiar face.
You look like every.
I've gotten Andre 3000. I've gotten when I didn't have hair, my face as much. I got Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy.
I've gotten Eddie Murphy.
These are all white people, right?
Nah, some of these are black people.
Damn.
Recently, I went to the damn, it's so messed up that I don't know the name of it. The African American Museum in DC. I mean, that's not the right name probably, but whatever.
It's good enough.
A guy in there, he was like, I look like the dude from the song "Send Me Your Location."
Oh yeah,
oh yeah.
I don't know what he looked like that, but I was like, okay. Like I literally got that like yesterday. So
shit, yo, you gotta start capitalizing off of this.
I guess, man. I gotta do looking like shit.
Pay $10 for an autograph.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as like now, were you one of those kids like back in like middle school, high school, or even elementary, who were just like in the back and you just kind of like just made your little sketches and artwork and stuff like that, and kind of like, and it kind of propelled you into what you are now?
I guess so. I mean, I was a kid that would doodle. I would doodle all over my notebooks, and I actually got like tested ADD because I wouldn't pay attention. And when I went to the test, they were like, he's actually smarter than he's supposed to be. Like, he's smarter than this grade. Yeah. So since the work doesn't challenge his mind, he just does what he wants to do. Like, so I wasn't challenged. And so, yeah, I would definitely do a lot of doodling. And I think that was part of my creativity coming out. And I was always creative. I look at myself more as a creative.
You think you're smart? You're still smarter than most people?
I don't think I'm smarter than most people.
They say that they're typically like the artist actually is because they think with the left side of their brain a lot more, and they use a little bit more of the capacity to create that creativity. So I
think I think I look at things like differently than some people look at it, or I look at it in a way that's very bare sometimes, or not complicated, and that will consume my mind. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll think about why someone thinks about this. Like, you know what I mean?
Shit. Yeah.
Like, so why we all look good.
You
like,
dissect everything down to it's like, to it's like,
to a regular
level. What's it called, like that? To its prime number.
Yeah.
You try to get down to the bottom of it. I like that. That makes sense. Why you so quiet, motherfuckers? Speak up.
No, this is good content. I don't gotta always be suck a dick. It's okay. I can,
Yo, when the fuck you ever let Marvin talk, yo?
Listen, well, this is about growth in the show. Listen, this podcast, you guys were here from day one, right? Yeah. We were all over the fucking place.
Yeah, true.
Now we learn how to navigate and the content being the number one thing.
Very true.
You know what I'm saying? So I just move with it, baby. Now, if you're gonna allow me to talk, please, because I felt pressured I couldn't talk. I felt like because maybe I'm the least artistic here.
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
So we do have another question, and usually we save these fan questions for the cup, but I just felt like this coming from the source who's an artiste herself, curated by Nina. She had some real cool questions that I didn't think I would think of until just now. So. I don't know if you answered this, but how do you plan your artwork, especially the digital content, which is kind of the forefront of what you do, also sculpting? What is your process? Do you wait for like inspiration and then it hits you, or do you like sit down like some writers write today for 5 hours and sit in front of the keyboard and like how do you find your influence? How do you plan your artwork?
So sometimes I don't have a plan, and I'm just now trying to get into a space where I create more consistently every day. Because I think about like how we go to work every day and we work for other people all the time. So it's crazy that you give 8 hours of your day to someone else. It would be cool if you could give 8 hours to yourself and then see what that would become. You know what I mean?
Very true.
So I'm trying to start to get myself into that routine because we've been programmed into that routine already from school.
Wake up, job.
You know what I'm saying?
But don't you feel like we programmed to appreciate art once the artist is no longer here?
Yeah.
Think of like how people feel about not even Picasso. Listen, who Anthony Bourdain. Like how many people love him now? Like I'm not calling him an artist in that term of the word art, but like when he created a genre of like TV mixing culture and food that wasn't done before. That to me makes him somewhat of an artist. And now like I mean he was making money before, but the appreciation is there more now. Like let's say like most people.
The appreciation is there because one, when you can't say to someone anymore that they're great, you know what I'm trying to say? Or you feel like you probably should have, you want to say it now. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then those people that say it now, if they're influential, you know what I mean? The people who listen to them are going to be like, why are they saying this about this person? I want to look and see what that's about. You know what I'm saying? Or even if you did like you did like him, but maybe you didn't pay that much attention to him. Now you want to go back and be like, damn, like, what, like...
Yeah, you gotta listen to it.
What did I miss the first time?
Yeah, like, why, like, what didn't I see? You know what I mean? Because you can't see it anymore. It's done. You know what I mean? So now, you want to just go back and look at it.
So another perfect segue. You guys are really setting up today. This feels good. I just chime in when I need to. So what are some of your influencers? Who, whether it be online or maybe some classics, who are some people that you look to? Like if you're a rapper, you might look to Biggie or Pac.
Or let me piggyback off of them real quick. Like as far as
that's also by me.
And also with the influence, like what may influence you, but are there also those moments in times where you just kind of like have a spark or a mental breakthrough? Like, I gotta get this out of my brain real quick.
For sure. Well, my influencers, I would say I literally just posted this like a week, like this week, but I said I'm somewhere.
It was me.
Nah.
You tagged me, right? How about me? You tagged me too?
Nah.
Do you think that you're smarter than those two guys?
Not necessarily.
What's up with this smart shit? All right, sorry.
So,
back to you.
But now, Salvador Dali.
They say if you're the smartest dude in the room, you're in the wrong room, right?
They say stuff like that. Yeah, they do. Salvador Dali. If y'all could ever get a chance to look at his art, it's like surrealism. But he's this guy and he has a really long mustache.
Yeah.
But basically, I was drawn to his art. It's like kind of trippy. Like it's kind of weird. Like weird forms. One of the most notable things he did is the melting clock. Like it's like a melting clock. A lot of people have seen that
off the table.
Yeah,
I remember that.
I think exactly. A lot of people seen that. So
why was that? Why was that a big deal?
I think it's because it was kind of surrealism, and what that is like, that might not even be right because I didn't study that much in art history, so whatever. But it was he would juxtapose like real life things with like weird ideas, or like he would like show a bunch of people's bodies, but then when you stood back, it would be like a skeleton's head. You know what I'm trying to say? Okay. So it would be kind of multiple meanings, but I think it was trying to speak to, just from my perception, it was like the idea that time almost doesn't exist in a sense. Like time isn't something that melts and that changes. It's something that's very strict. You know what I mean? But it's only strict because we get the rule of time. We said this is an hour, this is a minute, this is a second. If we didn't say that, like,
well, you gotta create a concept of time.
Of course.
How do you know?
Of course.
Yesterday from tomorrow.
Yeah, but if we didn't have that whole concept of time, then how important would everything else be to a certain degree? You know what I mean?
Or important.
Yeah. Like it's weird. Like when you go to sleep, you think you know how long you slept because the time says you slept that long. But what if you slept 2 years? Like, what if you slept 1 second? Like every time, like every 24 hours of our life, there's a point when we're not even conscious to our surrounding, but our surrounding kind of creates this idea of time to us. Like if you got up and it was still night, you wouldn't think that it was maybe.
Well, everything needs a definition.
Of course,
time is a definition of.
It is
of, I guess, seconds that pass or reality passing by. Like
for sure.
If you didn't have that, we wouldn't know the difference between Steve and Tyreek. You know what
I mean? Time and certain things are measured differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you look at space, you know, a year on Mars or a year on Jupiter,
it's
different. A different year.
Longer or shorter or XYZ compared to Earth. Yeah. So I feel what you're saying because time is not. We define time, but then time itself cannot be defined. It's something that's abstract based on where you're at.
That's true. You know based on location.
Yeah. But it's like before gravity was realized, right? People didn't get it. You know what I'm trying to say? Until it was realized. So in certain ways, I mean, I think about all this type of stuff all the time. Yeah. Like if time wasn't, it's what we think it is now. You know what I mean? And it makes sense for our math and all this kind of stuff now. But if it really wasn't,
you're saying it could change the way we thought the world was flat at some point.
Time, we can think time is flat. Like people believe in like time traveling and stuff like that, but they have no proof of how that could work or not work. Like there's no real proof. There's an idea. There is a science behind like if you're traveling at very high speeds, you age slower. Mm-hmm. So like if you had twins, one was on Earth and one was going at light speed for like years, they would be way younger than the other one. I don't know why. I don't know the science behind it. But I don't know. The idea of time or whatever.
Think about.
Yeah, it's something that makes.
So Salvador Dali
and Mellow X. Have you ever heard of Mellow X?
Who's that?
He's like a.
Yeah, is he more prominent in the digital space?
No, he's not even an artist. He's not a physical artist or a visual artist. He does music. And he does like a lot of mashups and stuff. And I like his vibe. It's kind of like psychedelic music or whatever. He has like a Caribbean influence. But check him out if you ever want to. Right. Yeah. So I recently posted that on Snapchat, like somewhere between Salvador Dali and Mellow X. And I feel like
where's Mellow X from?
He's from New York. I think he's from he might be from Brooklyn. I mean, he might be from Brooklyn or Bed-Stuy or something. I don't know. But that's funny. But I like his vibes. And I just like things that make me think. I don't necessarily feel like my art makes people think, but again, maybe that's just me being critical.
Have you seen your artwork?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
The one you got I was even looking at that one and I was like, yo, that is so dope.
Like, that's dope, yo. I want to look at it more, yo.
And it's just because of the way her face is like forward, but then it's shot. The sideways look, but then it's a different color.
So explain it.
You know what I mean?
So the name of this is called Wyla.
We'll post this on the page as well.
WYLA. It's just a woman. You see a profile, and then it's like kind of like a window through, and then you also see her looking right at you. So Wyla, I mean, you might think it's like supposed to depict the woman, but it's actually saying what you're looking at. It's like that's the acronym. What you're looking at. So it's just, I kind of felt like you're watching this woman from the side, maybe. You know what I'm trying to say? Like staring at her, and then she catches you.
She's watching you.
Yeah, like she catches you. Or she might already. Could even be perceived as her physical being looking this way, but her mind is on you already. You don't even know. Yeah, you don't even know.
That's exactly what I was thinking about.
Yeah, like you don't even know that she's perceiving you.
For the photo, but the whole time, like you've already been on her mind.
Yeah, shit. I like that.
It's just kind of like I like the two images and like juxtaposing, like looking away, looking forward, a window into the person, like, and then the line work I used in the whole show. I used this line work. It was just the show was called Vibrant Thing, and I was trying to figure out a way to make everything cohesive. And I felt like Vibrant Thing reminded me of like vibes, and I was like, how can I illustrate vibes? So I was trying to think of like ways, or like topographical things. So that's where that came from. But I mean, segueing into that, like, I'm an artist, and we talked about this a little bit before, but I don't always consider myself an artist, or have always considered myself an artist. And I think it's just because I'm so critical of my work. And like, just to say this before,
real art don't get criticized. Yeah, it is what it is, right? Or wrong? Am I wrong about that? So you can't criticize your own, because to you looking at it like, what about this? What about that? And to like
everybody else,
that kid over there that's like, I want to grow up and be an artist. He's like looking at you like how you look at Salvador Dali.
Exactly. I definitely get it. I definitely get it. It inspires people, and people see it as something different because they didn't see what it was created with. Like, I sat with that for days and saw what it could have been or what it couldn't have been. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm actually like, I like this, but I don't necessarily like all of my art. Like, I do it sometimes at the moment, I feel good about it, and later I'm like, and I actually talked to this other artist, and he told me randomly, it was like, there are artists that know they're the shit, and there are artists that are very critical of their art. He was like, if you know you're the shit and you are the shit, that's great. And he was like, if you're critical, that's great too. And he was like, the reason it's great is because you can see what it can be before everybody else can. Like, you can see where this could go.
Mm-hmm. Or how about this? Anything that's good, it has to make you feel something, right?
Yeah.
Now, whether you feel like this is the best thing I've ever seen in my life, or whether you feel like this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Both of those things are actually feeling. Yeah. And the thing you don't want is somebody to look at it and just go, what's the next thing? What's the next thing to look at? And so whether you feel great about this or a piece of your art, or you feel like it's crazy, it's like, as long as it's invoking some like energy, emotion, some energy, I think you did the right thing.
Yeah. No, I feel you.
I like that.
And I'm not even trying to like pump you up. I just think like in general terms, like your idea of, and this goes back to what I was saying a couple weeks back, like of like good and bad, like both of those are close to each other. Like
full circle.
Like nothing at all is what you don't want. You want something that's good or terrible all at the same time.
I feel you. I feel like I'm always, and this, I feel like that's why I get to this type of thing, because I feel like I'm an artist more so now. But before I was like, yo, I want to do an art show. This is what an artist would do. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, how about this? And then we're going to get into some topics.
Yeah.
Oh, I ask one more thing.
All right, ask one more thing.
We got to speed this up because I got a question.
Yeah, we got too much to say. Yeah.
Just one
time, right?
All right.
You think it's a social construct.
In some ways, yes.
But you think you're an artist now, even though you weren't an artist a year ago or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You are the same person now. Time, it wasn't there. It's not the same. No, there is no time. You now are just like the sum of the things that you thought or did over the course of however many moments. What about, you were one, you probably were an artist then. You just didn't know yet.
Yeah.
But what is one?
Yeah.
Or 30?
You're absolutely right.
Probably were almost an artist. You just now are deciding to like.
I'm realizing what I might be. You know what I mean? Like I feel like kind of going like biblical. I don't feel like Jesus all the way knew he was gonna be Jesus. Like I feel like he was Jesus. Like when he was born, I don't think he came out like, yeah, I'm Jesus, bro. I'm 1 year old. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like he was like.
First of all, if you can say that at 1 year old in a whole complete sentence,
but yeah,
he definitely Jesus.
He was.
I'm Jesus, bro. I'm 1 year old, but I can articulate myself about your saying.
I think he was that, and then that his life created what he was, came out, and that was what that was.
All right, we had 34.
What's that?
Rapid fire.
Savage 7. We didn't talk about this.
Savage 7.
He's wearing a t-shirt now. This is his actual cover.
Yeah, man. It says free, and then on the back it says free, but not so free.
So how does your art and your love for digital art, what made you, and I think Kevin is a part of it, is it Pete too?
Yeah.
So it's a 3-man team. You guys came up with this company, Savage 7.
So it's actually more than 3 guys.
And fuck them.
It's all good. It's more than 7 guys, technically. So basically, it's just me and my friends. And basically, in college, they and me were called the Savage Seven. There were some like sexual connotations put to that later too. Yeah. But basically, we're trying to flip the idea of savage around to not necessarily have a negative connotation, but look at it as if
there we go.
Look at it as if you're a savage, that means you go and get what you want to get. Like, it doesn't matter.
Bro, you need to be a savage.
Exactly. And that's what Savage 7 is.
If you want a savage, then you weak and in life
exactly
takes you over.
So it's like we all are young men, all professionals. None of us have kids yet, but we will have kids.
He's talking about his cook.
Yeah. We will do all those things, but like what we're trying to say is savage is a negative word, but you need to be a savage in life. You need to go party. You need to go have fun. You also need to go fucking work. You need to make something of yourself and do something at all times.
What was that?
Somebody at the door.
It sounded like a no.
Let me go.
By the way, Kevin has 2 kids he's not taking care of. So he's the definition. Fuck you, Kevin. He's the definition, I love him, of a savage. Because he's such a savage, Kevin, that you're not taking care of you. I'm going to call Kevin Drake from now on.
Oh, shit.
Kevin. Your name is Drake from now on in the jail.
No.
That was fucked up, man. That was real.
Yo, check out. Just to make that up, check out The Real Kevo. You know what I'm trying to say?
Kevo, it's
not The Real Kevo. He had a little blog.
That's your car?
Yeah.
Up front?
Yeah.
Move it to the other side of my car.
Oh, it's a neighbor.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a neighbor. We got
while Denzel's doing that,
yeah.
All right, so I'm going to ask you the last question. Then we'll go into you giving your people your handles. I'm going to make sure. Whatever. Anyway, so last part of your segments or interview. Now, as far as what you were a year ago to what you are now, what do you project 5 years from now?
Ooh, 5 years from now,
in your vision board.
I feel like
now you got in your vision though.
Yeah, I'm hoping that basically I can give myself all to myself. That sounds kind of weird.
No, it doesn't.
But
it's like masturbation.
Pretty much. I want to masturbate my creativity.
Hey, I like that. That's a problem. That's a t-shirt. Hey, look, the news is gonna be.
Literally, like I just want to.
Hey, look, we gotta get shirts first. When you make the t-shirts,
I think your next art, you got a pussy shrine. It should be a man jerking off, and his jizz. The jizz is like
the art.
Creative. It's like. Listen, you might be on to something.
Yeah, literally, it might be.
Hey.
But yeah, I just want to agitate myself, put myself in different situations, immerse myself in the creative potential that I have to possibly achieve it. You know what I'm trying to say? I have to push myself and keep going forward to get to that next thing. So I'm hoping 5 years from now, I can look back and say like, damn, every year I realized another part of my artistry and got further into it. Dope.
My man.
nice, I like that.
Let's go to the top.
Talk some shit.
Oh, give me a handle again real quick. We're here with a handle. Kemeron.
So you can follow me at
Kemeron.
at isthatkem. So ISTHATKEM.
Snapchat as well. Same thing.
Isthatkem everywhere.
And savage7.com.
Savage7.us. So that's where we put out some of our apparel. We're about to probably come out with something in the next month for the summer.
Hey.
Stay tuned for that.
Another thing too. Hey, fuck you, kid, because I wanted to get a t-shirt, and I asked you for a fucking t-shirt so I can support, and you gave it to your other friends. That makes sense. But let us know. Listen, because Kevin don't let us know. Let us know. We'll definitely know.
Hey, make sure y'all follow at IG, Not Safe for Ears. Make sure y'all follow Nick. Make sure you follow Denzel Skywalker. I'm MGT on
Absolutely.
Make sure y'all DM y'all questions or send it to our email, notsafeforears at gmail.com. We're on Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes.
Yep.
Woo!
Yep.
Man, subscribe.
Get him, Bob!
Subscribe to the YouTube
Marvin
channel,
practice.
you feel me?
Yep.
Like,
Bars.
we not getting paid, but all you gotta do is hit the subscribe button.
You don't have to tell people, but they can think we get
No, we rich like a motherfucker. I got a I mean, bitch.
They can look at the bottle service over there and be like, yo, I don't know, son, or the shoe collection.
Also, this spot is dope, yo. Just I know you guys can't see
The
it.
artist, that's the creative
but the whole
director
thing
over here.
is the
Look at him blush. Look at him blush, yo.
Don't say that.
He's
yo.
an artist.
Don't say that word.
You're
yo.
a fucking artist, and you're gonna fucking own up to it.
Yep.
I did make this table though.
You are.
Anyway, the topic.
First one. Should your significant other have unlimited access to your phone?
Who's it from?
Who said that?
It is from Molly Funk.
Molly Funk, our day one supporter. Where Molly from? Salt Lake City?
Salt Lake City.
Bro, she been riding us from day one. Right. Thank you so much. Right. One more time the question. I'm sorry.
The question is should your significant other have unlimited access to your?
I think.
Fuck no.
No. Yeah. I think no. I think. Again, spirituality is coming out, but I think God is meant to see everything. I feel like we have two eyes. So we should probably see two sides.
You trying to trick your girlfriend right now?
No. You can't argue with God.
It sounds like how they think it. If you like, baby, only God needs to see this.
If you hadn't really been listening to him all show, he thinks on a whole different. He breaks it down bit by bit. Yo, his thought process.
He's trying to create a cult.
Like put it this way: you got two eyes, two ears, two nostrils, one mouth. You know what I'm trying to say?
And one cell phone.
Right, but I feel like the two eyes and two ears, two nostrils means like you're supposed to perceive things from the outside in two different ways. Like be able to understand someone else's point of view. You know what I'm trying to say? And your mouth is like one. Like you should. That's the one thing that you can say, but you don't have two of those. You can't talk at the same time.
So in your girlfriend seeing your point of view, maybe she's thinking, okay. His point, maybe he wants to have sex with this vagina over here so that he can have a muse for his creativity.
I'm sure she won't perceive it that way. But I feel like, in just saying what that was, I feel like God is supposed to perceive everything, and I don't think we are able to perceive everything necessarily for what it is and not how it relates to us. So sometimes you can see something and it means something that would mean something to you.
Yeah.
Like, I might be texting him and be like, y'all niggas ain't shit. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But it's a joke. You know what I'm trying to say? But if you guys aren't able to, understand the context or not able to take yourself out of our conversation, you can't look at it for what it is. And then it might really be some grimy stuff.
Or it might be a joke.
Yeah. Your perception, your reality is so part of you that you can't separate it.
For example, you get a DM says, I love your appearance on the show today.
Yeah.
Let's link up.
Yeah.
What other way is it to look at it? If from the perspective of your girl, like she's going through your phone, go to your DM, and some attractive woman says, I love your show today, you're so handsome, let's link up.
Yeah.
How are you going to explain that to her?
And the thing
everything
is,
you just said.
And the crazy thing is
that I'm a copy of the shit.
The crazy thing is you shouldn't have to explain that because that's actually something from someone else. Like you haven't even responded yet. You might be like, yo, I don't want to chill with you. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Oh, so like, I haven't even responded. Why you jumping on me?
I'm not responsible for what somebody else.
But the thing is, the question might be like, oh, well, why did she feel comfortable with saying let's link up? Have y'all already linked up? You know what I'm trying to say?
So what you do is use your backup account.
I ain't got a backup. I swear to God, I ain't got a backup. I ain't got one. I swear, I ain't got one.
I feel like at the end of the day, if there's trust, you don't need to see it all to trust me. If you need to see it all, then that probably means you don't trust me.
And it's out of your hands anyway.
True.
Whose hands?
I mean, listen, if he's a cheating man, he's going to find another way to cheat. So just because you're looking and hoping to find something, what are you going to do when you find it anyway?
Yeah,
and will that change the outcome?
So let me also put this in perspective. Sometimes, even if you something, like you said, so if you can't take yourself out of the situation, then whatever it is that you thought that you were looking for, if you see something, you're already going to perceive it as that because you've already had this judgment going on in your mind, like, I got to find this, I got to look for this, I'm looking for that. And then when you see something...
So if you're looking for it, you're going to find it.
You're looking for it, you're going to find it, whether it's what it's supposed to be or not.
It is right now screaming like, bullshit,
yeah, that's
fuck y'all niggas.
Yo, these two niggas...
I
think dark skin dudes cheat, light skin dudes don't fucking do it. Thank you.
That was the petty shit.
I'm sorry, yo.
Y'all terrible.
Hey, Steve.
That's not even the problem. The problem is because if you look at something and you want to look at it a certain kind of way, you're going to look
Alright, so she jump in your DM, she like, I'm gonna fuck. Ain't no other way to look at it.
Yeah, there's no way to look at that. But she said that.
As long as you don't respond, we good.
If I don't respond,
you should block her. Why you ain't block her?
Send the pic, yo. I need, you know.
Maybe you say
send the pic. I need inspiration.
He about to get very too.
Hey Steve, how many dick pics you got in your arsenal?
You ain't gonna ask my man Steve how many dick pics he got. That's not what I'm gonna do.
Not this one. I'm talking about
saying,
chicks jumping in your DM, baby. A chick jumping Steve DM.
Bam, he got one right
sent one.
Oh, you supposed to have something in the chamber? I mean,
See?
No, I never called you. Because if I ask him, yo, we're not friends anymore, my guy. I got 2 phones like Kevin Gates.
He literally does. And first of all, we're not going to speak past the fact that you guys call him Steven James Tyreek. I don't give a fuck.
You got to drop this. The people who love you nigga their name.
I love your parents. I love your parents, bro, but that's not your name.
To close it up, you agree with these guys?
Yeah, I don't believe that you need unlimited access to someone's phone.
I don't think it's healthy.
I think just to give you a last little note, I think in this day and age there's an idea of ownership of your partner, and it really shouldn't be that. It should be.
I love that. Yeah.
A partner. You know what I'm trying to say? Someone who decides to be with you, and you
not a warden, right?
Yeah, but no one owns anyone. No one owns your body. No one owns your mind. No one knows what you love, who you talk to.
I own that pussy though. You better. And you own pussy?
I don't own it. No, I don't,
bro.
You come back to me a lot of times because I do. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't own anything. You know what I'm saying? It's all up to that person and me and what I do to get that.
Only thing is your own reactions and your thought process.
All right, so jumping into the. Thank you, Molly. Thank you. All right, so yeah, appreciate it, Molly. Thank you. Make sure y'all go check her out, man. Molly Funk. She's definitely been a day one rider. Mm-hmm. You watching this season of Power? Have you watched episode 1 yet? First of all, they say this is a
big rich town.
Now go. I don't know the rest of that shit.
Yo, fuck out.
So I started watching Power, but I had the first season. I haven't.
Great show today.
I have not. I like this so far, but I watched so many things that I'm just jumping.
So season 2, episode 5. Do you remember that? No. What do you guys?
Come on, yo.
No, nigga, talk about
it. Nigga, I've been waiting for this shit for a year. I didn't see it.
So I haven't seen it.
I shut the fuck up then.
You saw it? Hold on. Tell us. 1 to 10. Does it? How much do you want to watch episode 2?
I'm just gonna say that the one thing Power does well is
they always over there.
It makes you hope that there's one nigga who dies every season, and there's one nigga who needs to die for the past few seasons who you really want to see die for real now. That's all I'm gonna say.
Brother.
No, it's not. It's fucking.
I think I've heard about that. I think I've heard about it on a radio show. Them talking about something that happened. I'm not gonna say it though.
Yeah, please don't. Marvin, you watch Power?
Huh? Who was the question?
You don't watch Power, yo? Stop, yo. Marvin, we're gonna watch season 1 episode. So did you? Cause episode 1?
Yo, he
don't. It gets you in. I swear to you, yo. You see episode 1?
It's a good show. I haven't even got through it, but I know I'm gonna watch it.
Did we answer the question?
That might kill me, yo.
You have seen it. You don't even know what it is.
No, I do know what it is.
You know what 50 said?
Oh,
who the fuck is that?
you seen?
What up, bud? What up, cuz? You know what 50 said? No, I didn't watch Power.
Oh man.
We're gonna watch. We're gonna watch. I'm watching. It came on last night. I'm watching it. I'm watching it today.
Okay.
He said he seen it.
I went until midnight.
You might have went to the premiere.
Nah.
They
had the symphony though. 50 had the symphony perform the theme song. So
damn, you know.
That's some big boss shit right there. Symphony ain't cheap. Yeah, so you guys can touch on that.
We ain't got nothing.
I'm excited.
We gotta watch it.
Tonight.
It's the show. It's the one show. Alright, so this how things usually go for me, right? I watch Orange is the New Black, right? I get through season 1. All right, season 2 is all right. By season 3, I'm like, I'm watching more of this shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I watch fucking Westworld. Season 1, I love that shit. Season 2, it fell off. I'm like, nah, I can't fuck with that shit. Mm-hmm. Power, yo, that's the only show. Season 1, bam. Season 2 coming up. I watch season 1 to prepare for season 2. Season 3 come up. I'm just recapping. I'm reading shit. I'm talking to people. You know what I'm saying? Now I think it's season 5, 4 or 5.
Yeah, season 5.
It's season 5. Nigga, I'm still stuck. Mm-hmm. It's that good, yo. And it's like I was sitting there. I had like Chris and my wife, her father. He Jewish. So I'm sitting there watching season 1, episode 1 with him, and he predicted like the whole first season. He fucked it up for me. I'm like, hold on, what the fuck is going on? Right? Why the fuck do you know what's going on? Mm-hmm. But other than that, like me thinking like, I just motherfucking know. I just keep on like, It's the only show. It's the only show that's still
better than that weekend singing show. What's that other show?
Empire.
I can't fuck with Empire. I cannot
watch the first 2 seasons and then I was there. But I very seldomly watch.
I need somebody here get
TV like or sitcoms. I don't know why.
Watch Power, yeah.
Probably good.
Well, maybe
you'll see. Watch season 1, episode 1. You'll see.
Gotcha. Yeah,
but bootleg version of Power.
It is. It came on after that.
Singing, my God, and I like singing. That's not. I'm gonna kill you.
Also, Ghost is a better number one than what's his name?
Yeah. All right, next topic.
Kill his passenger to save five strangers.
I think yes.
Yep.
I think yes. I think if you allow yourself to be in a driverless car, you have now relinquished your idea of being the driver and making those decisions. So you are the person that needs to succumb to those decisions because you have allowed yourself to be.
Who is the passenger?
I mean, I think from
let's say it's Barack Obama. He's in the passenger seat.
Let's say it's
you. Let's say it's us 5 in this room that could die. But Barack Obama is.
I think Barack Obama is a great person, but I think if Barack Obama has to go somewhere and he decides to get into this vehicle that is going to take him somewhere, he decided that he needs to be in. Like he could have drove and made the decision to be whatever he wanted to, but since he decided he wanted to go someplace and use this driverless car to do it, that has nothing to do. So because you decided to get into that, you should die, and I shouldn't die.
Barack Obama.
Let me. This is nobody else has to answer after this.
All right, that's it.
No one life is greater than the next. So if you have to die, or if there's one person to save 5 other people, I think there should be no other option.
Okay, how about this?
It doesn't matter who the person is.
I'm throwing this right back to you. 5 KKK dudes could die, or is Barack Obama sitting in the passenger seat?
Barack Obama.
Depends who the person is then. Now you're talking about perception. Because those 5 right dudes gonna kill that nigger. I say that. I'm not going to that.
Those 5 KKK people, they run into or have some kind of situation where it changes their lives forever. And they may make a greater difference than what Barack Obama ever made just because they had some kind of experience that may have changed their life. Between 5 people, that may change 5 other lives.
Let's say it's O.J. Simpson and Bill Cosby.
You trying to get all the vile niggas in one.
Harvey Weinstein, they could all go, and the other person, who you say you want to have last? Rihanna.
Rihanna's still
over Harvey Weinstein.
I don't think the one life is greater than the next, no matter who we think that person is. I think that every.
So would you keep straight? Would you kill or would you pick either side to do it? Like would you kill the person? So basically,
I had to decide.
If I had to decide.
This is the actual thought experiment programmers do to try to, like with artificial intelligence. Yeah. And it's supposed, I forgot the name of it, I had more time of it, but it's a theory in which they're trying to figure out with these cars,
the percentage of
life. Like human, right? We're going to find empathy in anything, so we're going to be like, okay, if another way to do it. Do I have to kill one person or 5 people? Is there a way? But it's a training experiment. You guys can Google it, where they're trying to figure out, program a driverless car to pick between killing a school bus of kids or a grandma and her dog. And I forgot the name of it. It's a good question. I wish I had more time to digest them, but I'm trying to figure it out because the computer, they don't have any humanity. They just go for okay, give me 0.
Somebody got to go. Who's gonna be?
So they'll just pick that. A lot of times in human, they don't even kill ourselves. Like how many times have you swerved with your family in the car for a fucking squirrel?
Yeah.
Right? By instinct. Where if you was just a driverless car, they're gonna that doesn't make sense. Kill that fucking squirrel. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's some science behind it. Fuck, I don't have today, but
you always got a lot of.
Two midgets.
Two midgets. I don't know who else. They're still.
So not even. There's 2 midgets.
There's just midgets.
I don't got time.
But it's still one person.
It's like a person.
He's definitely a piece of shit. I'm just. Hey, look. I'm just saying. Denzel, we worried about you. All right.
I like midgets.
Mr. Time Clock.
He wasn't even politically.
Yeah, we got to keep going.
People.
Two small people.
Too small. You never said midgets. Play that back.
No disrespect.
All right.
Two small strippers.
All right. So how do you differentiate art from something?
Let me read.
What word is that? What word is that? Pussing or pursuing? Pursuing.
Let me see.
I got a few letters.
Oh, yeah,
you got a few letters.
How do you differentiate art from something that is posing as art?
Posing. Oh.
Bam.
That's a my nigga. It look like
What do you mean by
Okay, so let's say like a good example, right? There's who do photography because they love photography.
Mm-hmm.
There are photographers that just do photography because they know that girls want to be models, that because Instagram is important right now, and they think that they can see naked chicks and probably fuck the chicks. They probably not real photographers. They bought a camera and they take pictures of naked chicks.
So
and there's some guys who take pictures of naked chicks because they really are looking for that fucking angle and the this and the that. And the naked chick just happens to be part of the scene versus the guy who's like taking the shot and he's like, I think this girl want me fuck. So, you know what I'm saying?
I would say it's hard for me to call it, especially if I'm not incorporated in the process. But if I was perceiving things in a way that I felt that, because the thing is that art isn't always appreciated by everyone. You know what I mean? So whether you're an artist or you're not really an artist, you know what I'm trying to say? If I decide that whatever you promoted as your motive or whatever is your idea, what is your concept of your art, if I somehow see that as being not consistent, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Then I might not appreciate it, or I might even go as far as to possibly judge you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to think maybe this isn't really what their idea is really about.
I'm gonna challenge you.
Mm-hmm.
You a smart motherfucker, right? Yeah. You were smart and more than 5-year-olds are, right? You perceive time in a way that most people don't perceive time. Perceive this shit a better way than I do. Tell me how I know. I'm really know the answer to that. Because I'm struggling with it. Like I watch people and I watch all these things and he thinks I'm an artist, but I don't think I'm an artist. How do I know art from that? How do we figure this?
I think everybody is an artist. Now, there's different types of artists. Now I'm gonna play with it. There's con artists and there's actual artists. I think everybody's an actual.
What's an artist in itself? A con artist.
No,
yeah. Abide by.
Yeah.
Handshake. That was good. That was good. You do too.
Yeah. So I feel like. So I feel like everybody. I mean, I feel like art is doing the way you do it. Mm-hmm. That's it.
And the consistency.
Like your life isn't you. Like you lived it. You made decisions and mistakes and right decisions the way you did it. No one else can do that like you.
How about Honey Boo Boo's mom?
I guess she's in.
I think what you said is really good. The consistency. So like even with this platform that you're trying to push, we were just trying to get bitches on here.
Yeah,
it would show itself in time.
Yeah, because the
consistency. Yeah, it's like okay, they always got strippers on. They always being rude. Yeah, they're not having no guests on like an artist. So they're not mixing it up. They're not really trying to. They're just doing it quick. Then, but to someone who's like, okay, they're really going through the steps. You see them evolving, of being experimental with their actual art, learning and reflecting it through their art. I think it's true. It's definitely something.
And then I'm also piggyback off of that too, because of some fact that when people really take the time to develop into whatever it is that they're a part of, you know what I mean? Whether it's their shoe collection, whether it's their stamp collection, whether it's their art collection, whether it's how they lift weights, whether it's whatever it is. When they really fully immerse themselves in that craft, I believe that it becomes art to a certain degree.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
That's a good answer.
It slowly but surely develops over time. That time factor,
like sculpting the body.
Yeah, exactly.
That's people look at Arnold Schwarzenegger and they think like he sculpted the human form better than anybody else in his.
Yeah, he depicted it.
Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah,
Ronnie Coleman.
I just threw out another name.
Right, it's okay. We understand. But no, it's the same thing. I mean, you could say Phil Heath. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you could say these people have.
Say Steve.
Nah, yeah.
If you come Steve,
nobody can see you.
Come Steve again. Take the bandana site. I told Steve, who the fuck is Steve? Who is this guy? I want to know where the Tim's at.
Yo, it's too hot.
It's too hot for Tim's. I was working this morning, so I ain't throw on Tim's.
All right, I ain't mad at you, cuz. All right, so next, yo, look, first of all, I want to let y'all know, I got some crazy ass co-hosts. I mean, I'm crazy too. I'm Mr. with the shits, but, you know, Denzel Skywalker and Nicky Nick, yeah, you got to kind of.
You got to change your name, yo.
You got to change your name.
I got to.
Yeah, because the force is crazy with that. I don't know what to say about that.
You do better, yo. More artistic name.
Well, everyone else likes to suck my dick.
I
He didn't say suck my dick. That's kind of weird with all men. Kiss my ass.
That's still weird.
It's still weird, but it works better. So rank these boxes: Asian box, European box, Latino box, regular American box. All right, so why be?
Wait, hold on. Let me. So the question is, rate which ones?
Not rate them, rank them. So like rank 1 to 5. 5 vaginas. Which ones are the best?
That's the body, just the vagina.
Yeah. How good is sex?
Asian box, European box.
So I'm gonna be honest.
African box.
I've never had sex with any of those races. So discrimination.
Use your imagination.
But I would say this.
Asian box is sideways, my guy.
I would say this. Oh wow.
Molly is Asian. You're a bitch. You want to Molly, we love you, baby. All right.
I'll say, real talk. I personally love black boxes. But that's probably.
Hold on. Do you know what else the boxes are on?
A bunch of them.
What else?
It's European.
Have you ever had Latino box?
No, I
haven't.
I can't even judge.
So maybe you should talk about it. You have more boxes.
I can't even judge.
Kill you or get
Latino box get on top of you. Next thing you know, it splashes your body, bro.
So you said Latino box is wetter.
It's definitely wet.
No,
And Latino chicks, they fucking sweat from everywhere because they like.
This is a big girl.
No, you sweat a lot, right? But it's not. It doesn't.
So many
it don't still taste like sweat. It's just like.
It don't taste like sweat.
I mean, sometimes it gets your mouth. Yo,
I'll say this. It's gonna be a fake answer. Whatever.
Stop.
Wants to be you, like your box.
That's the best.
That's gonna fuck the shit out of you. That's the whatever box wants to be your box.
Hey, bro, we get you trying to start a cult, but answer the question.
That box is gonna be. But my preference is black.
All right.
That's also based off experience.
Come on,
based
Bob.
on my experience.
Right.
How many boxes you had?
He gonna get European boxes.
Those rubber boxes?
Hey, yo, he might get European.
Leave
his girl and shit.
I would also because like it's crazy.
You gonna get a German box on top? You know, next thing you know, your girl gonna be like, "What happened?" You gonna fake your death and shit.
German box.
What is the one people?
No disrespect to German.
We like all boxes. Here in our series, we like all boxes. Yep. All right. So you said you had an Italian box.
Yeah.
And how was it for you?
All right. So, rating boxes. All right. So, look, I'm gonna be all the way real.
Why we got Native American box?
We forgot about that.
We did forget.
You said regular American box.
Yeah.
Regular American box.
That's it. You didn't hear me when I asked that.
Yo, this has to be how he comes.
Look, let's redefine. Let's define regular.
So American box is like all
A
boxes.
regular American box is like a hot dog.
What?
It's
Like a hamburger, you know, like grilled cheese sandwich.
No flavor.
No, I don't get it.
So like, all right, if we talking ice cream, right? Regular American box is like the chocolate vanilla, the ice cream world.
So hold up, where y'all from?
We all from here.
So
From Baltimore?
I was born in California.
Where you from?
Oh, I was born in Maryland. I mean,
Did y'all families come from anywhere?
Well, how far are we going back?
Hey, I did live in Alaska for 4 years.
You did?
Yeah. Like,
How was
that's
the
why my social
Eskimo
security number
box?
is different. Huh?
Eskimo box.
Eskimo box? I don't know. I was only 4 years.
Was it cold and bitter?
It's crazy.
I mean, it might have been glacier. No.
That was clever. You can't wild like constructively. You can't wild regular American box. Technically, because if we flip this, you guys would be regular American dick.
Yes, that is true.
We all are, yo. So
then, I mean, my family's from Trinidad.
See, so it doesn't matter where your family's from.
Yeah. What's the name of that dance? Was it that one?
That's actually that's you probably that's an African dance, but that's
South African, right?
No, I think that's actually West African.
Fucking Kevin, you lied to me, piece of shit.
But
you a con artist, yo. You like that? You like to deviate from the question.
Well, no, he said it. He said he didn't have experience with the other boxes, and the box he did experience with.
Right. So if you had to guess, okay. So let me ask you this: outside of the Black American box, right? These other boxes, which one do you anticipate in your future once you become a successful artist? Okay. Once you become a successful artist and you traveling around the world doing your art, and these boxes are at your beck and call, okay? Mm-hmm. Which one do you think is going to be the best? Of the Asian box once you do your Shanghai show? Or the European box once you do your douche?
Trying to get this nigga.
Man, he got a girl.
You're saying
hypothetically.
Which box do I think is better?
Which box? Yeah.
Next box on your list.
The next box.
If you were hypothetically single, traveling the world successful.
You got Latina, African. Fuck African. We can say Middle Eastern box, Latina box, European box, or Asian box. Which box?
I would say you come with a biscuit. Your box. The box, a biscuit, and a drink.
I don't know, man.
All right, next question.
I ain't talking about my box. Go to your box. The Italian box. How was the Italian box? Was it Marinara? What was it?
Yeah, it was extra Alfredo, my man.
Oh, Alfredo!
Extra Alfredo. But
hey, yo, I got a spot on the couch if you need that shit.
Hey, we talking about like past
experience.
I'm just saying. I'm talking about out of having multiple different boxes.
Yeah.
Were really good.
Yeah.
Like Italian, that shit was really good.
It's a good Italian box.
But it also stimulates down to what a person's diet is and all that kind of extra stuff. So you gotta kind of think like it's measurable only to a certain point because of their ethnicity. Yeah, just because of their diet, the way they exercise, the way that their life goes.
If you also were to take I'm
taking the majority of
exactly
and stuff like that. So I'm trying to piece it out. You know what I mean? Pretty good. But
you would trade the fried chicken, the chicken box for the.
No, he wouldn't do that.
For the panini, for the
he would not trade that.
For the calzone.
He wouldn't trade that.
No.
He's very comfortable with the fried chicken. Fucking bitch! You getting him jammed up!
He's trying, but it
Italian box.
Its first is African American. I would say African American. Then it's got to be, I would think, Latino for me. Mm-hmm. Then it's the Italian. Then it's the Asian. Then it's
you had Asian box.
Yeah, bro. Real quick. So it wasn't necessarily all Asian, but I'm just saying.
I'm gonna be a bitch, and I'm gonna. I kind of like what you said. I had many different boxes.
Yeah.
Okay. But the box, I don't care, irrespective of race, right, or culture. The box that really wanted to be my box was always the best box. Yeah, so crazy. Let's say you had a Latino box, and that was your thing. Like, I'm gonna get a Latin girl, but she ain't really fucking with you. It was the vibe wasn't there, right? Mm-hmm. Versus the box that I didn't even want per se or didn't love, but it was the box that wanted me was the box.
I'm pushing this right back to you. You ever had a box that wanted you so bad it scared you away?
Yes. And that's the box I got right now. Oh my God. The box I got right now, I swear to God, she crazy as shit. And she ain't come with no fries. She just came with box. Just hella box. Hella box. But it was good box. But no. But yeah, I had boxes. But all right. So for me, it's not so much the flavor of the box. It's the box that really wants my money.
What you think, Steve?
You call him Steve again? Fuck over the man.
Tyreek Steve.
I mean, I'm like the artist here. I'm Jamaican, so I have some.
Toronto.
That's Jamaican.
Toronto box.
No, they got
you mean box in Toronto?
Some Caravana box.
Let's not talk about that.
You go to Caravana?
Nah, I've been the last 2 years. I didn't go this year. Me and my man were supposed to go out there, but
Yeah, I go like almost every year, man.
Caravan. You already know. Oh man, I personally like the brother. I gotta agree with Nick and the artist. I gotta agree with like what wants you, but like what Denzel said, sometimes it wants you so bad that you're like, listen, chill.
She's a Latino box.
Chill. Yeah.
I hit a Jamaican box kind of crazy too.
It is. It absolutely is.
I'm gonna tell you.
You guys are all fucking.
I don't want Jamaican box.
Why would you say all of this shit? Yo? I think all boxes are equal. They all nice boxes. All nice.
See how he did that? He got all that. Jesus Christ.
Oh, hold on. What was the next one? No,
he's looking for next topic. I say fish.
This is what it was. Rank these boxes. Come on, man. Come on, bro. Pass the boxes, bro.
This shit.
Yo, all right, we're gonna make it quick.
We're not safe for Italy, ladies and gentlemen, so you gotta understand this is crazy.
Oh, he got actual boxes with names to them.
No, I'm just saying. Angel box, demon box, alien box, mermaid box.
I never seen any of these boxes.
What a fairy box.
A fairy box.
I know you guys should do that, so I'm wasting your time. I don't know. I'll go with alien box. What you think, yo? Demon box, fairy
Come
box,
on, yo, mermaid box.
Mermaid box.
Definitely better than alien box.
It's fishy, my guy. Who want fishy mermaid box?
I'll go with alien box.
It's
out of this world.
My God. You could go with the fairy box because it's magical shit.
Magic box.
It's probably too small though. It's busy.
Real busy about how big it is. We're talking about shorty magic.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Yeah. I think Marvin won.
I know you were how we go this.
That question.
Fairy box.
You gonna go with angel? You gonna go with the angel?
How about demon box, yo? Demon box.
I want no demon.
I don't want that in my life.
Hey, there's enough demon boxes out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I done let go of some demons. No more.
Angel boxes. All right. Next topic. That was funny. Y'all had to ask that when you're right at that when because that shit was so funny.
I know.
All right. No, I already did that one. Damn.
Get it done.
All right. So, can a artist create dick art and have it be taken seriously?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. That might be the best.
Got a large ass penis show somewhere, like a sculptor or something like that.
No.
I mean, I feel like a woman would be able to glorify a penis better than a man might be able to. Or unless it's
but I think it's more like the vagina is like a thing we look at like it's like it creates people.
Yeah.
Like, but then we don't look at dicks like that.
Dicks, men are like. I
feel like a woman couldn't do that, yo.
I feel like she could, but I would just say like I feel like anyone, man or woman, who appreciates the male form and masculinity could depict that from an interesting point of view.
Would we look at this female the way that females watching this podcast look at you when you talk about the female form?
No. Like some people might. It depends on how deep the art is. Maybe you know what I'm trying to say. If the art is perceived very in a deep manner, or it's not necessarily seen as like super vulgar. But the crazy thing is like men's nudity and men's like form, like the penis, is seen as vulgar.
Yeah.
Women's nudity and women's form is seen as like sexual. You know what I'm trying to say? It's not vulgar.
True.
Like you know what I mean? Like if you see a woman's vagina or like her breast, it's not as like considered as vulgar as disrespectful maybe as a naked male for whatever reason. You know what I mean? So if you go like I just was watching a comedy show and he was talking about like if a woman goes outside and she's naked, you know what I'm trying to say? A cop's gonna stop and be like, "Excuse me." You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like
you swing a dick outside,
you gotta
right there.
Exactly. Like no one.
Stop doing that shit.
Penis is like penis is perceived as something that no one necessarily wants, like undeniably. Like you know what I'm saying? Like no one just wants that. Like you have to persuade people into it. Like you know what I'm trying to say? Almost like
it can be seen as attractive. You see a lot of sculptures where the penis isn't proportional to the actual size of the body.
Yeah.
Well, maybe for white guys.
Yeah.
And, you know what I'm saying? But you see some of the ancient European sculptures, right? They do that on purpose, though. They don't want it to be the focal point because they know the attraction of sexuality.
You don't think that it was like made to scale?
Well, some of the stuff I read, it was done purposely on that to take away because you wanted more
body form.
Yeah.
The body form of a man, the muscular form was like a big thing. You know what I mean? So, but yeah.
Well, what Nick is saying is true. What Nick is saying is true because even with ancient Egyptian art, there's many pieces that you'll see where certain parts of the male are missing because ancient Egyptians were very, I'll say, out there with how they displayed human sexuality.
Yeah,
and that was a big part of what they were, and that society, a lot of society revolved around that. So you'll see statues that are missing, the penis of the man.
How do you know it's not because women were taking them off and then like using them as like dildos?
I guess we never truly.
It's possible.
No one knows.
Have rubber dildos.
I mean, they might have even sculpted them with the penis.
They definitely did have stone dildos back then. But
you know this?
Yes, I'm very much into history. And history has just researched some stuff about human sexuality in the past.
He's a master in some girl DM because he can bring up sex in the best way. He only has stone dildos.
It's on YouTube, yo. It's on YouTube. Look it up. Sex in Ancient Egypt.
Who got to do that? My man is a fucking archaeologist over this shit.
You're digging up stone dicks. Oh my God! It's bigger than the ass. Okay. What we got?
Next question. All right. There's a saying that where the artists live, rich people have more in trying to take in the art.
Moved.
What?
Let me read.
Rich people move in trying to take in the art. Fuck it up. What is that?
I got it. Because I wrote it, and my handwriting is terrible, yo. So no offense to Marvin.
Hey, hold on.
Artists.
No offense to me. I can't read.
No. I'm saying it's not your fault. It's my fault because my handwriting is some shit. Everywhere, right? You want to move to a neighborhood that's like up and coming. Mm-hmm. Artists today are doing what they do, right? Mm-hmm. Wealthy people move in, trying to like draw out the energy from the neighborhood, right? In whatever capacity they can. They wind up creating rules and gentrifying it. The artists move to another area, and then the cycle continues. Like I've even had a wealthy person tell me that in the past week. Like, oh yeah, I just buy houses where artists are, and then eventually it's going to be good. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think about that?
I feel like that's gentrification at its finest. I feel like gentrification is really based around the
economics.
Yeah, economics and the infiltration of the rich or the privileged into, poor and not privileged communities. And I feel like, no matter, it comes from the idea of white people coming in and taking this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
It's really capitalistic.
Yeah.
You find that even other groups, you don't have to be per se white.
Yeah.
If it's an advantage to take over land, I can buy it and then sell it up.
But that's where I feel like capitalism is a white thing. The reason I say that is because most of we talked earlier about being late and if that was because you're black, and that was like there's a psychology behind it. The psychology behind it is, and it's very loose, but it's like everyone from black descent or color descent comes from a place where their environment was rich in resources, rich in abundance of animals, ability to create and have food readily to you. You know what I'm trying to say? Mm-hmm. The season probably never changed. You know what I mean?
So time wasn't so much a burden.
Exactly. So if I don't have to worry about planning stuff right now to have food 3 months from now when it changes season, why am I worried about that? If the animals are just running around you. So white people, anyone from like European white descent, you came from a place where it was very barren. Your seasons changed. You had to be able to adapt.
To be on top of that shit.
Yeah. You had to do that so much that you had to go out and extract.
And it's ingrained in them through the generation.
I think that it is something. I mean, I don't want to say that everything is genetic.
Not in a bad way.
But it's just something that their ancestry comes from environments that were not forgiving. Our environments were very forgiving. In certain ways, we were blessed to be where we were from, and in certain ways, they were blessed to be where they're from. Their blessings made them have to be smart and think of capitalism. They couldn't barter anything. Barter. I got this over here. I got some dead sheep. I got some dead this. Whatever. You want some of this meat? You give me some of that stuff you got there? All right, bet. You know what I'm trying to say? Them, they had to plant. You know what I'm trying to say?
He did say pause, right?
Yeah. But they had to be ready. You know what I'm trying to say?
Let me stress this real quick. Yeah. And then we got to move to the next question. If you're going back that far, then let's go back further. Okay, we all come from the cradle of civilization. Mm-hmm. White people are only white because they moved to an area of the world where where the sun wasn't beaming on them as much, and they didn't have to turn dark in order to be able to create that kind of. Yeah. I mean, are we all the same? Or are we all different? Like, what are we? I mean, to our core, how different are we really?
I think we're all the same. I think because we've been socially brought up in certain environments, it makes us interact with each other on different levels. Like you can go into a room of people who you feel are like you and feel like somehow on some level they connect with you on a level that other people might not. There's a certain level of comfortability that I think that Black people have amongst themselves that for some reason they don't necessarily always have amongst a group of white people. And I feel the same way about white people. And I think that is because there are certain different things, even dealing with like slavery and stuff like that, that you know touchy subjects. And it's a responsibility. Because the only way it's going to be better is if we have conversations like this openly. Yeah. But the responsibility on both parties, the responsibility on maybe the outsiders or the white people, the people of privilege to be like humble and come to the conversation, like being ready to learn things, being careful of what you say, you know what I'm trying to say, and being open to conversation. Black people need to be understanding of people's ignorance, understanding of what they might not know, not so sensitive that sometimes.
Maybe of our own ignorance as well.
You know what I'm trying to say, and kind of leave room to have conversations about this, and that kind of thing trades off depending on what the conversation is, depending on what the people is, all throughout that conversation. More conversations like that would be able to bring more people together and be like, yo, I also have things that make me cringe and I don't want to talk about.
Very true.
But I can't talk about it with you because in me just depicting this situation, you take offense because I might have slipped up and said something that was ignorant, and then now you're all the way in your feelings, and now we can't get past your feelings to the actual conversation.
Man. Nick? Nothing
really to add to it. I don't think it's per se just a black and white thing. I think it's a human nature thing. I think if you Genghis Khan, he's reigning over that certain part of Asia and America, well not Asian, but Asia, and the Japanese in a relationship with the Koreans. I think it's human. It's a macro thing. On a micro level, especially in America, it definitely is a cultural thing and learning and really listening to each side, not letting fear be the driving factor. Mm-hmm. A lot of times you're not knowing, and induces fear. Then fear makes you keep them over there, keep this side. When in reality, we're all the same. We have more common than that.
Last two topics, guys. You ready?
Let's get it.
Actually, it's 3, real quick.
Is it?
All right, so fuck 3 5s at one time or 110.
What?
Fuck 3 5s or 110.
So what's a 5 then? Because we know what 10 is.
It depends on what you depict as a 5.
Just physically, not
5 is like halfway between.
5 steps down from a 10.
Yeah.
Well, no, give me. Well, hold up. Everybody's 5 is different, right? Because you see somebody like that's that nigga.
You don't really want us to pick people out.
No, don't pick a person out. But okay, what do we find a 5? Like they got an ugly face with a nice body.
Is a 5 average or is a 7 average? What's average?
I never had a 5. I don't think 5 is my guy. You see this face? Shit, fuck y'all. I ain't serious. I'm not 5. I do 6.5 though.
3 5s, but 3 of them. That's a 15.
What?
No, it's not. It's 3 5s. They don't both on together. That's separate 5s on top of my head. Shit. So you want one dime. Let me talk about the sexual, not all the other stuff that makes us beautiful as a human, but sexually. You want perfect tits, perfect ass, perfect face.
And the 5s work
or, and this is one, and it's sexy face, or 3 5. So 3, I don't know.
The 5s work harder though, right?
How do you know the 5s work harder? Are you sure the 5s work harder?
You think that the 5s don't work harder?
Did we just not say that the box that wants you works the hardest? So she's a 10 who wants you.
But these 3 5s?
Nah.
They all want you.
What is 3 5s?
They all think like maybe.
But they gonna judge you after. Judge you after?
Probably. They all gonna judge you.
I think in our lifespan, depending on the type of guy you are, you've probably had that situation when you went in a gym chick or or someone. I don't know orgies back then, but I'd rather take 1 dime than 3 5s because number one, I can put all my attention on that one bad chick than having 2 other sloppy ass 5s waiting for their turn on top of the 5.
Yeah, but that dime is thinking about her next selfie, bro.
That's cool. I'm thinking
these 3 5s are all thinking about the next 3.
You think about my next selfie? Actually sucking my dick. You saying?
But the 5s are thinking they sucking your dick and they thinking about you like shooting a fountain on all 3 of them.
But the 10 ain't doing that.
10's thinking about the selfie, bro.
Now I don't know.
I do this. I say, but if you doing not to judge.
Oh my God!
If you doing 3 5s, right? And they with you know what number I am.
That's another thing I was gonna touch on that. Like,
You know what I'm saying?
like, bitch, you
But let me not be a 10. Let's say I'm not a 10 today.
Right.
Then that means, and no judgment, but if you're doing all this for a 9 or 8 or a 6 or whatever, then what you gonna do for the 10? Like, you know what I'm trying to say? So, I mean, are you cool with being 5 girls for 110? If I'm not a 10?
Good point. That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying?
Because those 5 somebody are a 10.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You know what I'm saying? But what am I to them? What do you look at me as? You know what I'm trying to say? And then what
You always trying to like fucking Jim Jones this shit.
Yo, why you trying to
Not the rapper Jim Jones.
My man, how you learning those things?
I'm just saying, yo.
I'm trying
I'm trying to flip it and be like, yo,
you have
what
to
am I
pay
to them?
attention to his creative thought process, which is absolutely
So you said-
amazing.
Not 3 5s, but definitely 3 7s.
And Tyreek fucked up in the corner.
I say no, real talk, I do 10.
I don't have that much energy, bro.
I don't have
Tyreek.
I've never done a threesome. But I don't have that.
Can we hold it down for the people who tell the truth?
I'm very generous, but I'd rather be generous with one person. I don't got no time for all that shit.
I've never been with a 5.
Hold it down. Hold it
That
down.
you think of.
No. All right, it's all subjective, right? So what I might say is a 10 or 5, it might be different for you,
The
right?
consensus 5.
So for me,
The consensus 5.
I've never been with 3 5s. I don't know.
Exactly. You don't know what it's like.
I know what it's like to be with a strong. Listen, I know what it's like to be with a dime, or if let's say someone ain't down with a strong 8, like I've had strong 8s.
Fuck a strong 8. Manhandled by 3 5s. One of them got you in the head with a pussy. Other one.
I thought this is your fantasy.
The other one, she looking at your butthole by the.
It's a 5 though. She's probably out of shape. All right, boom. She's probably out of shape. She's probably a little hairy. Maybe she don't shave her ass or a pussy, right?
It depends on what you
And I'm saying 5. That's a 5 for me. Like
a 5 for you.
a 5 is like damn. The 10 I want to ain't. What's a 5 for you?
Well,
Yo, we cannot do that, yo. It's not about. It's about.
So how you ask me though? 3 5s or a 10? We know what a 10 is. A 10 is goddamn perfect, right? Like whatever our version of perfect is. You like Latino box. You like a little, whatever box. That's the best.
All right.
What the fuck is a 5? And I want 3 of them fucking 5s.
Yo, niggas, they jumping on the top rope.
See, listen, we talking about sex. A headlock, jumping off the top ropes. Who the fuck kind of fucking is like? I want all that shit. I want some regular ass denim, Netflix shells, down ass.
Wrapped around the bottom part of your dick. Another time wrapped around the middle part.
Yeah.
What are y'all fucking lizards? Man, look.
Yeah.
I want regular ass.
Hey, Marvin. Thank you for telling the truth, yo. You're the only one, yo. Thank you, sir.
All right, so what's y'all do? Y'all obviously want the 3 5s.
I'm gonna take the 3 5s.
So y'all want, it's more of a quantity, it's not quality for y'all. You a 5 ain't a 10. That's quality. That's right. So you just want more of it. So you want more dollars than you versus one nice ass 5-star restaurant. Yo, burgers. I'm saying wine.
At this point in time, I'm not judging based off of just all look.
Yo, we talking about looks, yo. We not talking about what they do, the quality of what they do.
No, okay, then look at the pussy. Look at the body.
The quality.
Just
Talking about
saying,
the quality of what they do to you, yo.
It's only 5. She can't suck dick like a 10.
You don't know
Yo,
that?
you sound ridiculous, yo.
So listen, her titties won't be as good as a 10.
Yo,
right?
you think?
She
All
might
right,
have-
right.
she
Let me
might
fix
not
this.
have-
But it won't be as
watch this.
You're right.
I'm about
I
to
ain't care about that shit. But if she suck my dick out of this world,
hey,
better than that tin can,
hey, Mark. Hey, Mark. This girl's over here, right?
All she got to do is look up
she can get attention from this guy right here. This guy right here is a 10. He's used to getting, like, every girl want him. This guy right here is like, yo, this is my chance to play in the NBA championships, yo. 7. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna fucking do that pussy things this motherfucker has done a few times. Now he's like, I don't know.
You still gotta look at that 5. I want to be satisfied too. You think like, okay, what they gonna do to me? I feel what you're saying. You just all pleasure. Maybe you close your eyes when you have sex.
He want to look at.
I open my eyes. So I want to be turned on as I'm also turning my partner on. So I would take a quality 10, right? Or I would take 1 Benz versus 3 fucking Toyota Cavaliers. What the fuck? I don't know. I don't know what fucking 5 car is. Like, take a quality fucking
Kia Rio.
A Kia Rio. Everybody got a Kia Rio.
They got a good buyback value.
I don't know. This is for me, man. Another thing too for me. This is for me. Y'all like to, y'all got maybe more sex standing or something. But I don't have enough time to be fucking 3 chicks, especially 5s.
Yo,
I bust the first 5 down. I'm like, yo.
Once you bust it, they just toy around with you for a little bit.
What?
I'm thinking.
Hey, Steve, what you feeling, yo?
I got standards on my dick, man. I can't.
My God, give me like that.
You got what?
He got standards. I got standards for my dick.
Okay, hey, Steve. What if I said 3?
Y'all ain't saying 6 and
What
a
if I
half.
said? What if I said 3 6.5?
It doesn't matter. That 110.
6 and a half is better. Now we talking. A 5. A 5. Exactly. Listen, yo, bro, what you doing tonight? I'm about to go see this 5. Nigga, no, you ain't. Number 5, you 7.
Yo, I got 3.
5.
Yeah. Look, I got 3.
Boom. Last thing.
One of the 5s can cook. She threw some shit.
We ain't talking about cooking. Talking about times out. Hey, yo, what you doing tonight? What you doing tonight? Watch it. All right, Mom, you go. He said, watch this. Hey, and you say, what's up? Hello. And look, I got this party dog. What you doing? You be like, shit, chilling. All right, cool. What they look like? Actually, what they look like? I got 3 bad 5s. I got 3 5s, dog. Like, wait.
Nigga, they all
like, a 5, nigga? That's a 5.
Hey, yo, send me a picture real quick.
Yeah. Nigga, fucking 5s, you gonna be bad.
Yo, they ready to go though, yo. They ready to go.
Oh, check this out. Now you answer. Hello, yo. Yo, I got this badass 10 over.
Yo, she annoying as fuck though, yo.
No, we ain't talking about Listen, we ain't talking about this. She ready to fuck. They all ready to fuck. The 5s and the 10.
She been complaining ever since she got here.
Cool. She gonna get this dick though. She a 10. Which one you gonna come on the bed for? A 10 or a 5? 10 or 5. That's
I'm going for 3.
He gonna say, yo,
cool. That's cool. What are you cleaning it up for?
He gonna say,
you gonna be like, bro, how you gonna wash his ass on 3 5?
he gonna say, all 3 of them mine.
So you said that, right?
Yo, because my thing is like, look, you might have that one bitch who's bad. She might be bad as shit, but her pussy dry as fuck and her mouth game.
Same thing with the 5s.
But one of those 5s gonna be nasty.
I got at least 3
Yeah,
shots.
disgusting nasty.
5!
Yo, that's a 5.
I still got 1 out of 3 chances, right?
There you go, yo.
I got better
You rolling the dice, yo. We good, yo.
Wow.
One more question, yo.
I'm gonna crank it up, yo.
And yo, not the Drake one, yo. Fuck that shit. You ready?
What's about the album?
You ready for this?
Y'all ready for this one? All right. Now say ears, bitches. Okay.
Let's motherfucking go!
All right, rank these boxes.
You better throw that motherfucker away.
All right, so single mom.
This is really my God! Yo, King, my man. Look, I know when I reached out to you. Look, and your girl watching too. She like, this motherfucker talk about box the whole time. All right, so just to appease my man, let's go. We got the box question.
Yeah.
This is better than the other shit. The fairy tale shit. This is a better box question.
All right, so single mom is single mom box.
I like this one better actually.
Fit chick box, nerd box, big girl box, or stripper box.
One more time. Read it to him one more time.
Single mom box, milk box. Okay. Fit chick, nerd box, big girl box, or stripper box.
Hold on, put single mom.
Single mom is single mom.
Yeah, single mom. My bad. Okay. So those are the 3 boxes. Which one?
Just on box, not what else they can offer outside of the box.
Fuck that shit, yo. Just the sex
Just
game,
the box.
yo.
Okay. You go first.
Single mom.
Okay.
Easy. Why? Because she got pregnant for a reason.
So the box must be alright.
Of course.
Okay. It's a good one. What you think?
And it expands and contracts on you the right way.
All boxes do that.
I don't know, yo. I don't think all of them do that, yo.
You don't think
some of them stay the same, and I'm like,
if you think the milk box has been a little
single mom box is definitely number one.
Okay,
that's just me.
Okay,
all right. What's the first?
Single mom box, big girl box, nerd box, big girl box, stripper box.
Fit chick box is going like at some like 4. You got nerd box. That's just number 2, yo. These girls, they don't talk on the day.
Yeah, they free stuff.
Yo, they don't know what they're about. You close that door right there, yo. You walk over here, you sit down. Yo, you ready to go? She locked that bitch, yo. You're not getting up, yo, until she's done with you, yo.
So you probably nerd box, really?
Nerd box is good box, yo.
Nerd box is probably the best box. Who phone?
His phone.
It's his
pictures.
That was the message, yo.
You said motherfucker. That was the message. Wait till your ass.
Oh, so you with nerd?
Hold on, your girl, she got kids?
No, not yet.
She don't got the best box.
I mean, I'm not saying that.
Good man. Good man. I'm not saying that. So you said nerd box?
Nerd box is nerd box is like number 2. Here you got big girls and you got strippers and you got fit chicks. I'm thinking it goes strippers, big girls, fit chicks.
But your number 1 is nerd.
No, number 1 is single mom.
Single mom. But number 2, I got it.
Gotcha.
What you say, Mom?
I say mine. It's crazy enough, but I got to agree. I think it's going to be nerd box. But mine's is nerd box, fit box, single mom box, and then it's girl box, stripper box.
We disrespecting stripper box, yo.
This is mine, and I'm gonna tell you a personal experience. This is anecdotal, but it's scientific. Actually, it's scientific.
You and your
So I at one time was heavier. I was 220.
Yeah.
My wife is 220. So 220 woman is much different than 220 in a guy. Why am these motherfuckers this shit? I was having sex with my wife when she was heavy. It was great. But when she got fit, when we both got fit,
it was better.
It was the step. Everything you could do better. You had more energy for it.
She jumped on top of it.
So just so we ain't just on it with y'all, this top rope shit, boy. I already know what you and Chris doing, boy. Y'all having some WrestleMania fucking stuff. I'm gonna go because
this is like small, so he's probably
one jumping off into it. I would say shit because they can do probably what I like longer. Boy,
three fives can do what you like longer too.
5 minutes. Yeah, but they not fit. They might be fit, but they might not have no ass and titties. I like them all. Now, I never had a big girl. I can't say big girl sex. Strippers, I mean, like, they don't take it like they dance anyway. So, like 2 Chainz said, can you take it with a dick in you? I don't think they're going to do that. I would say fit. I feel like sex is a game of stamina.
You think fit's number
1? For me?
How many single moms single moms that they desperate. They don't got nobody that's taking care of home.
See, that's your 5 single mothers. I don't fuck with them 5 single mothers. My single mother, we go a little higher. I would say fit. I mean, really, to be honest. Like, if it was like a 15-minute session with 2 fat people, and I was fat, so I could say that. Fuck you. 2 fat people, right? And you lose some weight, you feel better, you lose some weight, and you can go longer. You can do everything longer. And I enjoyed that. So, I was a fit chick.
Steve.
What you say, Steve?
What's number 1?
Yo, his name's not Steve. His name's
Tyree.
Nerd box is number 1.
Nerd box is up there, yo.
It was a hard decision.
Nerd box is number 1. Like he said,
it's a surprise behind it.
A nerd chick is not gonna let you know what she's into. She be reading.
She be suppressing that shit all the
time. She be what? You know what I'm saying? Like she's not.
Her whole imagination is way wilder than
Absolutely. Chicks who talk a lot of shit most of the time cannot back it up. So
that's that strip.
So you talking that shit?
Yeah. So that's why I would, and then in that way, I would put stripper box in the bottom.
You had
they sell them. A lot of them sell something they cannot. They write checks that their ass
can't cash it. You had nerd box.
Their ass can't. But they
nerd box is no. Listen, my top 3 is nerd box. Not even in order, but nerd box, a single mother box, and fit chick box. I never had big girl box and stripper box.
You never had stripper box?
I think I did.
Didn't like it?
I think I had pre-stripper box.
Yo, let me tell you this.
I think they became stripper. That's right. If you became stripper within 2 years after we fucked,
I've had former stripper box that became single mom box.
Oh,
I know those too. It's Mount Everest of boxing.
It's the Mount Everest.
It's the Mount Everest, yo.
Yo, all right. First of all, just because I don't want to fit my political needs, my box is perfect right now. How's your box?
I enjoy it.
You better fucking say. Bitch, how's your box, sir?
My box are just
great. So we love our current boxes, our current and forever boxes. But the nerds be alright though. Don't worry about that. All right, so is that all the question?
That's it, yo.
Oh, how y'all feel about Drake album though?
I think it's the best piece of art ever.
What the hell no?
Steve album was good, yo.
Views was better.
I thought the rap joints, the singing joints, I can skip
The
out.
singing joints was good,
You
yo.
think
I don't have the energy for that.
Views was better.
I think
Views was great though. I like Views.
Views was definitely good. Views was definitely good. I think this album though, I think that he was literally like showing pieces of himself. And I think that's what made it better for me because I felt like yo, he gave you everything that you like, whether it be like one of his more singing albums or
He was sad.
one of his more rap albums. But I think I also got a lot of value behind who Drake is because, you know, even though Pusha T put it out there about his baby mom, he has a song there where he got a couple of phrases and
Was
stuff.
it the chicken and the egg? I don't know.
He literally talks about it in a couple of the songs.
What's he gonna talk about it? Of course they're gonna say damage control. Yeah, we already planned it. But the chicken and the egg, which one came first? Was it Pusha T that made him talk about it? Or was he gonna talk about it?
Think about how long it takes to make a track and for you to put it on the album with the rest of your songs.
Oh,
I think he was talking about it already, yo. This whole album, it had that like, alright, it had that like
I think he was doing a
sadness, that's like letting people in. Like the whole thing, like it was like nothing. Before he's always been singing those like slow songs, like Marvin type shit. But like that was not. It was not letting you in. Like this album. I'm not saying that this is the best album. I'm just saying it's definitely the most where you like, oh shit, he's fucking bomb right now. You know what I mean?
I feel like he had to be because he had something to prove. Like I feel like Pusha T put him in a position he's never been in. Pusha T has put chinks in the armor.
Pusha T.
I can't agree with that.
Yes.
I think Pusha T definitely put chinks in the armor.
A lot of people sat here and said like, because the thing with Drake is that Drake has always he's bodied people he knew he could body. You know what I'm saying? Like he bodied Meek Mill, and Meek Mill had to wait 2 days to get an Undertaker sample that he didn't clear. At which point WWE came and snatched that from him. So it takes a little bit out of what Meek's response was. You know what I'm saying? And then Meek waited, and then Drake was on him. Like Pusha T went to a level. Like Pusha T was like, all right, Pusha T said, you want to play beef games? Like we can play beef games. Like you understand that beef is off limits. So I'm not gonna play nice with you and talk about, you know, I'm like, oh, like your rap is whack and you don't sell. Nah, I'm talking about your moms. I'm talking about the fact that you got a kid that you're trying to out with your Adidas line. Like, dog. Like,
hey, Steve, that's all well and good, but this album is different than the beef. We all agree.
What I'm saying is
Pusha T killed him.
But I think the reason why the album is better, the reason why people think the album is different is because he has to be in a position where he's vulnerable. He cannot sit here and talk about what he has and how great he is and how he's the number one.
That pre-Pusha T beef though.
Nah, I don't think so.
Also, two things.
It's 2018. It don't take nearly as
real quick. Two things. More the same. He has a song called More the Same, doesn't it? No? I don't feel like it was any deeper or not deeper. I felt like it was just the same level of transparency. He's talking to the hoes. He's trying to seem somewhat connected to the streets, and he makes hot beats. So I feel like he was drinking. He's doing great on the Spotify charts. Billboard's great for him. I also heard a theory. Check this theory out. That Pusha T was up in one. They were all in on it. If you had to roll, check it out.
I'm not against
families, right?
Daytona.
Drake, they had one time had a relationship. If you know anything about the background knowledge with him helping Kanye with hooks and ghostwriting and stuff. Okay, so I got something I got to reveal. And I could just reveal it and surprise people, but I could have a pre-rollout to the reveal. Have another established artist who comes to
right.
says, "Hey, but us though." Well, it's a business. See, it's music, it's creative stuff, but it's also a business.
That's true.
So they're going out there that Pusha T in up on.
Where I'll disagree with you that Pusha T has had beef with that Young Money, Cash Money camps
for a while. That's true.
That's what makes it perfect. You can't find a right. He could have had some regular fucking what's the name of something red. He had some. Okay, who do I have history with that makes sense for him to even attack me? And then what can he attack me on? He can't attack me on money. So he can't attack me on lyrics.
So set up like 50 and Kanye.
That's a theory. Theory means
but we didn't know that track was gonna be that. Like they when they came with that, they couldn't have known that Pusha T track was gonna be what it was.
Well, you didn't know as far as him artistically delivering it as a rapper,
right?
But the subject of Drake having a child that he didn't tell a word about.
But it's not just the child.
That's already enough.
His mom's is talking about the fact that your mom's always chose last on your dad's list. Like,
well, I mean, the diss was deep because the diss was basically saying you're always winning, but your mom's losing. Your dad wasn't there for you, but you parade him around like he was the best parent, and your mom is still losing. Mm-hmm. Now you have a child which you're hiding, and you're not going to your mom, the mom of the child. So it's gonna happen the same way. Like,
same thing.
So I mean, I feel like I don't know. The whole diss thing that was on another level, but I haven't heard the whole album, so I can't even.
It's cool. I skipped all the singing shit. I think I like the singing shit, but and the reason why I say it was pre-Pusha T because I feel like with a lot of his albums and everything like that, like we know how Drake is. We know what he's capable of doing. We've seen from October's very own himself. From the scale of when he first got hot, all that kind of stuff. I feel like at this point in time of where he was in his career, he felt like, especially with the whole Sun, and then that Pusha T beef, I think that spoiled on top of it. But I think that for the most part, what he was doing prior to, and that's why I might even agree with you on the whole perception of it being a setup. I don't know for sure. I've been seeing this.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. But the reason why I'm saying that is because when you listen to the album, like, I'm a man of value. So when I listen to it and I hear what he's saying, I'm like, some of this is pre-Pusha T. And I think that some of it, he had to deal with personally, internally, which helped him pull it out. But I think that the reason why I could also see from the perspective of, the whole Pusha T beef and really trying to, throw it out there is because Drake, all right, well, what's the best way, for me to kind of, get that out there in the world, you know what I mean? And then people really understand that, my album is about to be literally about what the fuck is going on in my life and what I'm dealing with to a certain degree. So I'm like, Drake is a smart dude. We all know he's not dumb. You know what I mean? No matter how you put it, whether he got a fucking song loaded in the chamber ready for Pusha T or not, he had a plan. Pusha T, he had a plan. Both of them had a plan. Whether they enjoying plans or not, I don't know. But nonetheless, Pusha T shit.
And both sides win if you think about it.
Scorpion.
They both won. They both won.
Drake had a chance to explain himself. He's doing great in the charts, right?
Yeah.
That Pusha T shit didn't hurt his money at all. If anything, it helped illuminate.
And people think that Daytona's the number one.
And then Pusha T is a good album because now he's back on the forefront as far as people. Like, you had to be a hardcore hip-hop fan.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's not like he was on anybody's radar on, just the regular top 100. So it was a win for him. He didn't really do nothing crazy.
Right.
It can always explain something. So anyway, we're past an hour and a half.
We past.
Guess, give me a hand.
Don't talk too much, yo.
Is that Cam? Pretty much on everything. ISTHATKE.
All right, savage7.USA.
That's
savage7.us.
US.
We gotta get.
I knew it was US something. You got Denzel Skywalker here.
Yep.
Nicky Nick, my man Paul.
MG_fit.
Give him the last little bit.
Hey, look, make sure y'all DM us any questions at Not Safe for Ears. Make sure y'all get those emails out to us, questions, whatever y'all want us to do. At notsafeforears@gmail.com. Catch us on Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes.
iTunes is showing us a lot of love, man. All over the world. We really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Y'all don't even see us like us.
Make sure y'all download the iTunes. Make sure y'all subscribe. Hit the push notifications. Unlike these motherfuckers didn't know we was live, and I did. But make sure y'all do that, man. Make sure y'all check us out every Sunday at 12 o'clock. Once again, give it up for our guests.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you, Tyreek, for coming. Tyreek,
Hey, Steven.
Next time I'll be on camera.